Ladies and gentlemen, it's lady.
What we wanted to do is just very briefly go over some crime prevention education, some tips, start with some statistics, and we'll go on to things like prevention for property crimes and burglaries, those kind of issues. Anytime you have a question, if you like, just interrupt me and I or Captain Perks will try and help you out. Start with some national statistics. There's a murder every 1.7 hours, robbery every it's 40 times an hour, assaults 92 times an hour, burglaries 257 times an hour, arson 720 times an hour. 88% are home burglaries, and if your home doesn't have an alarm, you're 3 times likely to experience a burglary than if you do. Obviously, here in Webster, we're a bedroom community, so we don't suffer those national statistics. It's much quieter, but obviously we do have some incidents. So people do need to be aware, take some advice from some of the presentation that we're going to have. And anytime we can assist you, obviously contact the police department. In 2022, we had 3 robberies, 81 vehicle thefts. We got 124 stealings. Of those 124, you don't see it up there, but 70 were either from vehicles or vehicle equipment, like catalytic converters. We started having a number of those. We had 22 assaults, 35 burglars, and unfortunately, we had 1 murder last year.
Not to interrupt you already,
Sure.
but this is the best advice that you can give with what my neighbor, 97-year-old Ann Houston did. She heard, Ann Houston was. She heard something on her bottom door, it's like rattling. So she gets up and she yelled, "Hey, Vale, get down here with right away. There's somebody trying to get in." And so Bill died 20 years ago, but the guy left. So that's probably the best. I'm going to steal that advice.
Absolutely. Making somebody think that there's something there that's dangerous to them is certainly good advice. We try to put this on our Facebook page and publicize it as much as we can. It's a 9 p.m. routine. So every evening we need to lock it, remove it, light it, close it, hide it. If you see something, report it. Obviously, that's our general information number. If it's something where you see something occurring that appears to be in progress or there's an emergency, obviously call 911.
And hide it thing, is that true that if you put it in the freezer or under the mattress, that everybody thinks of that first thing and don't do it because they Robert always look their quiet? Is that valid?
It probably is valid in that it's not a secret that probably some of the first places people look is because it's so prevalent that that's where people hide things, that's where they look. Professional burglars, they have a kind of a different MO than the burglaries that we experience here for the most part. For the most part here in Webster and a lot of communities, we're not looking at professional burglars. We're looking at people who it's a burglary of opportunity or more low level. They're breaking and looking for different things. So they may not be thinking that way, but anybody who's a professional burglar, yes, they're going to go to the places that obviously are more publicized about it. You put it someplace where people don't look. That's the first place they do look. In terms of trying to prevent a burglary, make sure your home is as secure as possible. You want to make sure that everything is locked up, lock everything that you possibly can, even when you're home. If possible, you want to have a locksmith reinforce your door. Deadlock bolts are always the best things. If you can put a strike plate in, that's even better because the strike plate will keep the door from being kicked in. Don't put your name on the mailbox or any place else where it's identifiable. If you don't own a dog, you might want to consider putting up a beware of dog sign, like you're saying, make thieves aware that some problems there. Same thing with the alarm. We recommend an alarm if it's economically possible. If it's not, you can put up a sign in your yard saying that your home is protected by an alarm. The other thing is social media, which is a huge thing now, especially for the younger people. People 18 to 34 post vacation updates frequently on social media. That's not a good practice. Especially professional burglars or those who do it frequently. Check the social media for those kind of issues. If you're not, you know you're on vacation, it makes you subject to being a target. Just as kind of general information and the areas we're most concerned about. You can see here 34% are from the front door and 22% from the back door. 23% are in the first floor windows. So those are the areas that you want to make sure you're protected the most. Make sure you have locks on them. Make sure that they are secure. And again, if it's feasible for you, put in an alarm system. If you can't afford it or don't choose to have one, advertising that you do have one would probably be a good idea. Should have a home security checklist. Make sure that follow all the advice that's on this list. And that will help protect your home and your property. Keep the doors locked. Make sure your house seems occupied. One of the things people don't think about as much is make sure that the lawn's mowed, make sure your hedges are trimmed, and there's plenty of, there's a visibility from your windows. Landscaping doesn't interfere where somebody can sneak in and not be seen by your neighbors. Make sure the doors, sliding doors are locked. And also, again, social media. Make sure you're not putting things on social media that make people aware that you're not home. You want to check your house for weak access points. Always lock your doors and windows. Deadbolt locks are also the preferable method for securing the doors. I'm going to keep your sidewalks clear. Never prop open doors in an apartment building. If you live in an apartment, make sure you report if someone does do that. You want to document the serial number on your electronics, and really any property that's really viable, you want to make sure you have a way to try and identify it and have a record of it. You want to use light timers inside your home when possible. Same thing with automatic outside lining. Install window guards to prevent windows from being raised more than a few inches. That'll certainly help remind you not to keep them secure. Using a locking mailbox is more for apartment type dwellings. You certainly can do that if you have a single residence, but again, the apartment is the more frequent thing for that.
Did the post office get those keys changed? Because they were in the process of doing that.
I don't have a definitive answer for that, but I think so. They were having a real serious problem with the keys for key boxes being missing. I think they were able to get those changed out where they are more secured out. But that's something I can't say for certain, but I believe that's happened. Package thefts, certainly a serious concern. It's one of the things that we do experience here. It's that we've had some stealing on. Before you make your order is shipped, make sure that you choose the right service. It's better to ship the package to a location where you know someone will be available to receive it. Consider the signature required options. When you send to FedEx or UPS, they do have options where you can go to the office to make pickups. That's not a bad idea if you can't have someone at home. The same thing with the USPS service. Amazon has lock boxes at different locations, so that might be a good thing as well. If you see something suspicious, this is really important. When we do get calls, it's not unusual. Say 15 or 20 minutes ago, I saw somebody at this location, or somebody trying to get into a neighbor's house. It's very helpful to us if you see something suspicious. Give us a call on 911. We can be there within a couple minutes. So if you see something, say something. Personal property theft. When you're out, when you're away from home, if you're dining or shopping, you make sure you keep your purse on your lap or between your feet when possible. Make sure that it's close to you and that's secure. Don't leave valuables unattended at your table or in your shopping cart. Keep your password safe. Don't carry passwords in your purse or in your wallet. Keep a list of all your credit, debit, and ID cards and numbers, and the customer service numbers in case you do need it to close an account or report a theft. Vehicle thefts. The majority of the vehicle thefts that we have here are vehicles that are either unlocked, and some even have the keys with them. So along with other measures, you want to make sure that the car is locked, that the key or the key fob is not someplace where a thief can reach them. Make sure the door, if you have it in a garage, the garage door is closed. When you do have to park outside, try and park in a well-lit area. Make sure all your valuables are out of sight. Best thing is not to have them in the car. Keep a record of your vehicle identification number, and if you have an alarm on your car, make sure that you use it. Get neighborhood crime alerts. We have the electronic criminal incident notification system, which we've had for 20+ years here. We try and put out every week on the eSINs a notification on any of the crimes that occurred or any things that have happened that are suspicious that people need to be aware of. Our community service officers, Detective Paul Boudreau, he puts those out weekly. They also on our Facebook page. So if you visit our Facebook page, you don't get the eSINs, you can visit our Facebook page and get the same kind of information. But I would highly recommend that you get on our list for eSINs. It doesn't cost you anything. Just get it. We need an email and we can send you weekly notifications. If something important that you need to know about happens in the interim, that will also come out on the eSINs.
It's Pulse Point pretty accurate.
It's fairly accurate. Some of that still gets delayed, but it's pretty accurate. I mean, county does have a website for all of St. Louis County that we participate in. You can also get on there and look at the crime map. And it's pretty easy to find if you just type in St. Louis County in their system. You can find it fairly easily.
Yeah.
Another one of the things we need to remember is that the students and the people coming to and from school, so after school safety tips. Remind your children to go straight home after school. Use a smart lock that can be monitored remotely if that's possible. Lock the front and back doors when they're home. And of course, never open the door to strangers. You need to teach your children to detect suspicious activity. If they see open, broken window or open doors or household items out of place and indicate that there may be something wrong, don't enter the house. Make sure you don't put an address or names on spare keys or children's stolen. Holiday crime prevention tips. Obviously, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. These are pretty much a repeat of what we've talked about before. Make sure you lock your vehicle. Keys are not inside, nothing inside the vehicle. The personal safety tips when you're out walking. If possible, don't walk alone. Walk in a group. Let someone know if you're going on a walk. Stay in well-lit areas. Walk on sidewalks whenever possible. And always be aware, especially if you're alone, you need to be hyper aware. If you have a cell phone or you have those ear pods, I mean, it's certainly okay to use them, but don't use them where they're so loud that you can't hear your surroundings or hear what's going on around you. Same thing with package theft prevention. We've kind of already covered that. Carjacking. Here, fortunately, it is very, very rare. Unfortunately, we've had one this year. So on the tips on how to keep from becoming a victim, there's a few things that you can do and a few things that you should do if you do happen to be a victim, because no matter how cautious you are, even though it's remote, there's always a possibility that you can be a victim of a crime. And again, the short answer to who can be affected by it is anyone. Again, so the remote possibility of it happening here, fortunately, but it can happen anywhere and to anyone. What the carjackers are looking for, self-service gas stations, isolated intersections with stoplights, parking garages, residential driveways, and highway exit ramps. A common strategy, and it's the one that happened here, is for them to bump your car from behind and make a minor fender bender appear like an accident. It occurs when the driver pulls over, gets out to excessive damage. They've also been known to stage other types of accidents to take advantage of Good Samaritan drivers. Again, some tips to help prevent it: park in well-lit areas. Always be hyper aware of your surroundings. Equip your car with an anti-theft device if possible. Lock your doors while driving. Avoid driving alone at night if possible. And this last two are probably most important. Don't stop for apparently stranded strangers along the road. If you wanted to help someone, note the location, pull a safe place once you pass to call for help. Be aware of fake accidents. If you're suspicious, drive to the nearest police station if possible. If you don't know where one's at or it's not close enough for you to get to, try and get to an area that's very populated. Not doing it clear very well. What you do after an attack, if you're threatened with a weapon, give up your car. Your life is worth regardless. Try to note as many physical characteristics of the carjacker as possible so you can provide a detailed report when you call the police. As always, avoid a potentially dangerous situation is the best way to prevent an attack. Always carry a cell phone with you when you exit your vehicle and use your best judgment when driving and parking in unfamiliar areas. Neighborhood Watch. We do have a Neighborhood Watch program here. Our community service officer, again, Detective Paul Boudreau, takes care of that issue. If you would like to do a Neighborhood Watch or participate in the program, it's kind of best to get your neighbors involved first, make sure there's enough people that are interested in forming a group. Detective Boudreau will be glad to come out and talk to your neighborhood group or someone in your subdivision and help you get started on a Neighborhood Watch program. To be honest, the ones that we've had have not been very active, but it's certainly something that you should consider and something that I think would be very helpful to help you and your neighbors keep watching where you live. That's kind of the end of our presentation. I think hopefully we've given you some good tips and some good advice on crime prevention. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Some things you had, it's different than you. Same thing, but I learned some things today that there was some information that was valuable to me.
Good.
I thought I knew a lot of it.
I'm glad to hear that because obviously that's our intention. So again, we're doing our best to try and put out as much information out there as possible for people to be aware. We're trying to be transparent with the ESINs and everything that does happen, so people are aware when something does happen and keep everybody as informed as possible. And again, we need the community's help in preventing crime and catching criminals. So it's a partnership that we want to engage in. And again, the Neighborhood Watch is a good part of doing that if you're interested in that. And also staying in touch with us if you have any problems. Again, community service officer, Detective Boudreau is be glad to help.
I follow up on that Neighborhood Watch thing because Newport, a couple blocks. We used to have kind of organized.
There's still some, and there's been several, but it's become pretty inactive. It's difficult for people to participate and they kind of lose interest, but especially in today's environment with some of the things that are going on, it's a good idea to have it if we can.
With Facebook.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.